Hi. Yep, I'm doing something. I've recorded this is the third time now. I'm tired of this. I'm just gonna get back to why I haven't been recording the Solus project recently, for those of you that actually watch that swag. Even though it's a very in-depth playthrough. Or it's not very in-depth, I frankly can't even find shit, but you know, it's a full-size playthrough, I guess. Just, you know, not much is edited out, it's just mainly the walking back and forth, which I, at the same time, don't really edit out much of either, because it's just when I know I'm gonna be spending, like, 5 minutes walking there, and that's all I'm gonna be doing, then I cut it out, especially if I've already been there. If I have no idea, if I get stuck or whatever, I don't stop recording, and I don't know why. Anyway, so I'm gonna be recording more of that tomorrow. Today I'm not going to be doing that. It's like 2 in the morning. Tomorrow, when I wake up, I'm going to be doing that. About 8 hours, I say. I haven't been recording much Souls Prize because I haven't been arse this week, and finally got off my arse yesterday, and went down to the DMV, booked some classes, you know, get my driver's license and everything. Have to do that. Got most of my, this week I've actually managed to get all of the theoretical stuff, you know, the paperwork, book reading, and, you know, online tests and such done. So now it's only the paper test, and then the theory is done, and then I just need to finish the driving section of that. I'm working on my RC car right now, which is what I'm doing today. I had a couple of incidents with my tires yesterday, but I'm going to be telling you about that tomorrow because I'm too tired right now. I've already done that once and I'm not going to do it again because it literally took an hour for me to finish that video. God damn it. So what I got yesterday was I got a toy RC car from a friend of mine. He's a little kid that just likes to hang around me. I don't know why. And I really don't know why I'm hanging out with him, because he's irritating as shit, and I'm not even gonna hide it. He's very irritating. He's one of those people that you just get tired being around. It's like, even if he's just sitting there, he doesn't even have to be doing anything. That's kind of pissing me off, actually. It makes me feel like an asshole, because even if he's just sitting there, like, playing a DS or whatever, while I'm working on something, well, he's just waiting because we're gonna go and do something else. And I'm just working on something because I can't really put it down because my soldering iron's on fire or something, you know. Anyway, whatever. Even if he's just sitting there playing a DS or something, he's one of those people that just soaks the energy out of the air. He just ruins the mood, even if he's not doing anything. He doesn't even have to be saying anything. Just has to be there, and for some reason, just ruins the mood. I don't know how it works. I don't know why these people are capable of doing this, and I feel bad for disliking the kid. So, you know, I try to be a good guy, you know. So, yeah, there's that. Anyway, the kid got himself a new RC car. He'd already ordered one from, like, someone. Anyway, this thing was from a place called Solus, and it was a cheap piece of shit. But it was kind of cool. It has these really nice big tires. These tires. 4 of them. I had this little weird tilting thing where the entire car tilted to turn. It was kind of weird, but it was cool. And then it had this really zippy drive. Like, it really just snapped forward. It was meant to do wheelies. Although it had this very tiny anemic engine. I think, yeah. Here's the motor. It had a hefty-ass gearbox. This thing spins like crazy. Ran at 9 volts. Didn't quite give it any speed, though. It was fairly zippy, but it didn't have any torque at 9 volts, and it didn't have any speed either. So I threw this on there. 14.4 volts. Fairly quickly ate through the tilting drive, just like ate through the gears. Well, not really the gears. The gears were actually perfectly fine. It was that the mounts for the gears kind of gave up, because they weren't actually put in any bushings. They were just sort of jammed into the plastic. Yeah. Anyway, same for the gearbox for the rear drive, which eventually also gave for the drive front, forward and reverse drive, which also gave up eventually due to the same reason. So I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I put time into modifying this thing, because he gave it to me because he had a new one, and he was like, yeah, you like this thing, because I actually tested it before, and I really liked it. I liked the concept. It was really cool. So like, here, you like this thing, you take it. I don't want it. I have a new one. And he showed me his new one, and while he didn't personally think his new one was very good, he liked it more than the old one because it didn't eat through batteries in 5 minutes. Like, literally, the old one ate through 6 AA's in 5 minutes. The fuck? Anyway, so he gave me it, because he knew I could actually do something about that. And I could. So, I planned on just throwing that battery on there and calling it a day. And I did. Not. Yesterday I ended up weighing the thing down and like adding weights and shit on the inside to make it heavier so that it stuck to the ground better, so it didn't do wheelies, but I didn't waste any energy doing that, so just moved forward, and it worked. I had this heavy bolt with a bunch of washers on it on the front to keep it from tilting up and doing wheelies. It still did wheelies though, which is kind of funky. I mean, that bolt, this battery, and like literally half this cup full of washers, all of that weight, did it anyway. The only thing that weight prevented it from doing was flipping right over. It landed on this thing when it went up back. It just like and just rolled on it. But this thing wouldn't have done shit if I hadn't put the weight on. It would just like land on its top, or that's all it would have done. So, since it was a fairly poorly designed vehicle, it was designed only for having that 9-volt setup with the 6 AA's. Not for anything with an actual capacity. So, obviously, it wasn't going to last very well. And it doesn't. Or rather, it didn't. So, I actually still have a case here. That's the case. Thin as crap, low, the tire stuck out about that far on each side, so it wasn't very wide. I didn't exactly have a wheelbase or size to do anything with, so I decided to pull my old RC car that you guys have seen in the past, my old, gas-powered one. I decided to pull that apart, because when it broke, I was like, oh. So I've always wanted to make an electric one of these. I've been wondering for ages how I could convert this to electric, and now I realize that because I needed a controller for it. I have one. I need a slightly beefier engine. I have one. I need a different drive gear to mesh with this drive gear. I have one. All I have to do is wire this up. Oh, and I have to wait for the glue to shoot as well. I think the glue on the front tires could actually handle torque now. I have to I'm gonna have to wait. Not that I'm gonna put a torque on them anyway. I need to torque down the motor and shit. I'm wondering how much fucking speed this thing is gonna get. This thing's front wheel drive, by the way, and I believe the drive wheels are actually bigger on this thing. Wheels. I raised the suspension like crazy to make this thing handle like some form of terrain with the old wheels, like like that. Look at that! Like, look at the difference. This thing is pathetic. Oh my god, this is gonna be so badass. Mom's gonna be so confused. She's gonna be so confused when I pull this thing out. She's like, because she likes RC cars too. She thinks they're really fun. She loves watching them, and I love playing with them. So she's actually considered buying me one, but she keeps insisting on something. I can't remember. I think it was something about I have to take more initiative on it, and it's really, I can't really search more websites than there are to be searched, and I can't really travel across the fucking globe. I don't have that kind of money to show the kind of enthusiasm she wants to see for this. So, I decided I'd show a different kind of enthusiasm, and I just worked like crazy on this thing. And I did manage to impress her a while ago. When I restored the compression to the original engine for this, it now has compression again, but it still doesn't run. The engine is just bad. That's all it is. The fuel is bad, and it's a bad motor all over, overall. So I decided screw it. I also made an antenna. I made a flip switch ignition system and everything. So enthusiasm there is. Resources, there's not. You can only show so much enthusiasm. Remember that for any parents that are watching this. Sincerely doubt there are any though. But any parents watching this, a kid can only show so much enthusiasm. They only have so many resources to work with, and they only have so many places to turn before they just run out of things they can do. And your kid most likely has less resources than you think they do. Here's the thing. Adults today tend to believe that, oh, I had this when I was a kid. Why wouldn't my kid have this? Well, we don't. There's this thing called legislations, and when you were a kid, they weren't being enforced. But nowadays, there's literally lifetime jail on the line, so yeah, they're being enforced now. I couldn't just, when I was a kid, go out and buy whatever I wanted from any store, because there was tons of legislations about everything. And now I can do a lot of those things because I'm an adult, I'm a grown-up. Now I can do a lot of the things I could not have done before. And there's a lot of jawing about, oh, you should get a job as quickly as possible. Yeah, you should, but you can't. Not messing with you. You can't get a job whenever you feel like. A lot of, like my grandparents, like my grandpa, he gets it. He knows that the job market is a tough market. It's a place where you go to lose your dignity and just do whatever is needed. My grandma doesn't get that. She doesn't understand that the job market's not a place where you can just, it's not a place where you can just pick and choose. It's a place where you go and you fight for a job. And today, even that's hard. Nowadays, you don't go and fight. The companies go and fight. And they don't even fight. They pick and choose. When she was young, the job market was wide open. Students could pick and choose jobs as they pleased because everybody needed help back then. That's what she says. That's what Grandpa says. That's what my mom says. But do you know why? Because there was no legislations back then against teenagers working. A teenager could get a job and earn cash. Nowadays they can't because that's illegal. I live in Sweden, by the way. You can feel free to look that up. It's fucking illegal. Unless it's a summertime job. And even they are stingy as fuck. Half the time, they don't pay people that they have working for them. And the other half of the time, they get them in and they pay for them, but they're doing it illegally. Now you're wondering, wait, what? Yeah, here's the thing. There's this thing called insurance. And if you don't sign I repeat, a metric assload of fucking paperwork to have that one kid working here over summer, if you don't sign that, you will literally owe so much money that your company won't be able to pay it off if that kid gets hurt. Even if said injury is like twisting their ankle because they were a klutz and jumped down 4 flights of stairs. Okay, that was a bit of excessive, but yeah, 1 flight of stairs. They jumped down 1 flight of stairs because, hey, look what I can do. They do that, it's your fault all of a sudden. Even if they're klutz, twist their ankle, you have to pay. I don't know how that works, but apparently that's logic. That's Swedish logic for you. Anyway, whatever the situation, this sort of crap has gotten companies to stop taking applicants for summer jobs. They take them, sure, but they take them via this thing called Arbetsförmedlingen, which is basically a company that handles all the paperwork for companies. But in return, the company doesn't actually have to pay the workers. They have to pay Arbetsförmedlingen for this sum, and this sum is way lower than what they legally should have to pay the workers. And then Arbetsförmedlingen pays the workers, which is usually half of what the employer pays Arbetsförmedlingen, which is basically nothing. For a month's worth of work, you might get out $200 at most. If you manage to get that route. If you actually have some dude hire you over summer, you might make $200 over a weekend. That was a bit excessive, but you might make $200 over a course of a week. If you have some guy hire you, like, I should put it, like off the records, like, you know, unlicensed work, you might make $200 in 2 days. $100 a day. That's not uncommon at all. Like, seriously. I had one of those jobs once. Won't say when, won't say to who, won't say where. I made $60 in 6 hours. I made $10 an hour, unlicensed, untaxed. In America, that would be, I mean, that'd be kind of decent, but it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I mean, taxes in America is only 14%, right? Between 14 and 20%, depending on state. Here, it's 33% minimum. Yeah, I said minimum. If you make over a certain amount of money a year, it's 50. I'm not joking. The government here soaks more money each year out of people's fucking bank accounts than the government in America has ever earned from just their tax policies. Their tax policies don't hold a candle to here Sweden. The Swedish, like, what is it called? The Swedish budget, like our country's budget coming in from tax each year, the tax gains for the country each year rivals that of Japan. And they got quite a bit more people than we do. What the fuck? That makes no sense. I looked this up, like 2015, we were getting close to Japan in how much we're pulling in taxes each year. And that's not road taxes. That's not ownership taxes, like ownership of houses and such. Because housing taxes, I mean, that's high as fuck. But that's alright. I mean, you're owning a fucking building. Better make damn sure you can take care of it. Granted, the government doesn't take care of it anyway, but, you know, whatever. It's their land, technically, so, you know, they can charge for that. But, what was it? 80% of income for this country last year didn't come from trade. It came from, like, income taxes. When they taxed people's income. And do you want to know where 30% of that went? Yeah, I said 30%. Do you want to know where that went? I believe the term was government activities. I don't remember exactly what it says, but hang on. Let's see if I can translate that a bit better. Yeah, government activities. Translated to statliga ärenden. Government activities. 30%. Basically, 30% went straight back into the pockets. Went straight into the pockets of the people that work at the government. Government here in Sweden. 30% of all the income in Sweden went straight to their pockets. Money that families that are literally starving here could have needed. And no, I'm not talking about our newly arrived. They're actually some of the better. They're usually better off than a lot of other families in this country. Not because they have a lot of money, but because a lot of them have stable jobs, and a lot of Swedish citizens that are actually born here don't. Not because they're coming here and actively like trying to take our jobs. They're not actually trying. They're literally being given our jobs by the government. The government are like, here, take these minimum wage jobs that everybody in our country that already lives here needs, but, you know, we can't be arsed actually telling anybody that they exist, so here you go, take them. I mean, I don't really hold a grudge. I mean, it's not really their fault. It's not really the immigrants' fault that they have our jobs, or rather the jobs that exist in this country. They don't really, it's not really their fault. It's really the government's fault for actually literally throwing them into these jobs. And some of these newly arrived immigrants, they don't even get paid for the jobs they do. I mean, I'm not speaking for actively increasing the immigration rate into Sweden, because that's a fucking retarded idea. We're full. We have no more businesses to fill. However, I'm speaking for reducing government support. If you come here, you better play by the fucking rules. You shouldn't be given special privileges just because you come here. Getting away from the war zone should be enough. Like, seriously, that's why a lot of these, we have a lot of refugees coming into the country, mostly refugees, believe it or not, and they're really the ones that get this special treatment where they, like, the government just throws a job at them, support, and here you go, here's tons of money each month. Is this where all the money the government activities are? No, that's actually a different branch entirely. So no, don't worry. I'm not pissed about that at all. They have organized things quite well. You know, the pocket things goes in government activities, and all the pocketed money goes in government activities, and all of the immigration money goes in immigration services. Yes, I'm not joking. That's a category. Yeah. Basically, they get support money every month, and some of them do, you know, the ones eligible. Basically, the ones the government need to give support money in order to look good. You know, because, you know, we're the happiest country in Europe, yay! Except, basically, every citizen born here, even the ones that immigrated on their own, actively, by taking a fucking boat, train, or flight here 10, 20 years ago, hate the new immigration system. I'm not joking. There's tons of people in this country that came from these war-laden countries. These countries just laid to waste by war over the years. Tons of people that came from there 10 years ago. They are now complaining because people that come from those or similar countries, and no, I'm not speaking about the Arab culture specifically, or the Iraqi culture, because they're not really even part of this group. They're not really complaining. They're the ones coming in really now. I mean, before this it was, I don't remember who the fuck it was, but we're having a lot of Iraqis and Arabs, sorry, really, it's no better term for it, coming in. Now we have mostly those two groups coming in now, and they're not the ones complaining, ironically enough. It's all the other groups that came in like 10 years ago on their own without being literally imported. Not joking. We literally have people being shipped over, not on their own. Not walking into these flights alone, but literally being pulled off the streets and being shipped over to Sweden. Because you have to get out of here. And the whole you have to get out of here mentality is starting to get out of hand. We have so many people coming in each year that our economy can't keep up. We're literally going to crash and burn in the next 5 years if nothing changes. If everything stays as it is, in the next 5 years, our economy is going to go so far down the shitter, it's like it's not even going to be capable of understanding that there ever was anything but the tube. Just like that fart's going to go into the ether. There's just so much shit going on nowadays. I don't hate the idea about immigration. I mean, that's a good thing. It's a good way to move people around the world. and getting refugees that are in really desperate need of it out of a war-laden country. That's civilians. Just get them out of there. Fine. Just don't dump them all in one place. For fuck's sake, spread them out. You can't dump all refugees, and I'm not joking. They are dumping all refugees. The European Union is dumping all the refugees in Sweden, or at least the vast majority of them. You know why? Because most other countries in Sweden said, nah, we don't feel like taking them. And because Sweden was last to vote, we basically had no choice. Otherwise we would have seemed like the bad guys. And because Sweden likes to remain neutral, or being GG, so because of that, we just sort of just took them. All of them. Forever. Send some of them to France, for fuck's sake. Or Spain. I mean, that's not war-laden, there's just a shitload of drugs down there. Hell, their economy could probably benefit from having a bunch of people. Although there's probably already way too many people, but you know. Hell. Send them to Greece. Yeah, because that's a great plan. I'm really tired, by the way. My rambling is crazy. I hate the whole immigration question because it's really a no-brainer. You can deal with having hundreds of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of immigrants each year. You can deal with that if it's spread over a large area. You can't just dump, what is it, 200,000 or 100,000 refugees on one country every year. You just can't do that. Our country grows, like, if it wasn't for immigration, our country would have grown with 10,000 each year, or like a couple thousand each year. That's what our population would have grown with, and it would have been a fairly stable population growth. The country would have remained very economically stable for the next 20-30 years, at least. It would have gotten to this state in 20-30 years. This population boom we've had has not been because people have been screwing like rabbits and not using preventatives. No, it's because we have literally had people from another country just dumped on us. Here you go, here you go. A section of your country that is basically so goddamn overcrowded it's stupid. Have more people. Why not just produce like some sort of like... Now, I understand that this can be understood wrong, but for fuck's sake, listen. The town I'm living in, it's not really a city, it's a town more, is more of a rest stop. It's an industry. There's shitloads of industries around here, and that's what the town got centered around, the harbor and the industries. That's it. And then there's a couple of shopping malls, and then there's a fucking highway going straight through the thing, along with a shitload of railroad track going straight through. This is a pit stop. This is a place in this country where you just stop when you're heading from one point to another along the coastline. This is a city you stop to shop, eat, sleep, and take a leak. This is where you stop. Just simply to do a little bit of shopping, you know, for a few souvenirs, have a bite to eat from the local cuisine, even though the local cuisine mostly consists of Italian and Spanish food, along with a lot of Chinese food nowadays for some reason. We've always had a Chinese restaurant here called Dai Lun. It's a great place. They're fucking awesome. Like seriously, food is awesome. It's amazing. I'm fucking mind blown every single time I go in there. Same people has been working there for the last 20 years, and they know what the fuck they're doing, man. The guy owning it, hell, when he ports people, when he bans them from entering, he doesn't just ban them with a sign, he fucking punches them if they come back in. Some would call him crazy, I call him a real fucking man. He holds to what he says. And his food is not. It just keeps that quality that you just you have to search worldwide to find. Anyway, so in what's it? This place is a pit stop. I derailed there because of Chinese food. I love that. I love that place. It's awesome. It's amazing. Anyway, this is a pit stop. You stop here to refill your bus card or whatever. You don't stop here because, oh, I want to see the sights. What do you want to see? The basically useless harbor that has no real reason to be here because there's no advantage to living here. The only reason it's actually here is so that the industries can unload and load on. The harbor has actually never been used for transport. I'm not joking. This city has not existed long enough for the harbor to be used for major transport. The harbor has mostly been used for industrial transport. Actually, this city started around the harbor, I believe. Like many cities by the sea. Yeah, the harbor's been around for a while, but it was mostly a small fishing community. We weren't really putting out any large quantities, no really money. We don't have a cannery of any sort. It was a small fishing community. People were basically just fishing for food, and that was it. The harbor's never been used for large transport for buildings or houses, or even restaurants. It's only been used for basically for small-time businesses to supply their seafood section of their menu with seafood. That's what it's been used for, and I guess it's worked. But this city has always been a pit stop. It's kind of how it's always been. This place is kind of awkwardly in between the major city and the smaller cities, and then the major cities again. Not joking. This place is a pit stop. That's all it is. And this is one of those awkward little pit stops because if you dump a bunch of people into a pit stop location, if you were to take, okay, say this. If you take a truck stop and put it in the middle of nowhere, the only thing connected to it is a road. A freaking road. There's not even any trucks on it, ever. It's not even a transport route. It's just a random freaking truck stop. I guarantee you, if you build another building other than that fucking truck stop, if you take on top of that not apartment complex, a small fucking house, I'm saying 5 rooms, just drops that out there and puts up a ding for sale sign. There's gonna be 15 immigrants living in there within the next week. That house is gonna be government property after the government's gonna be that house is gonna be government property within the day, and that house is gonna be filled with 15 immigrants within a week. I'm not exaggerating. In the middle of nowhere is where they want to put these people, but there's no buildings already available in the middle of nowhere because people that live in the middle of nowhere wants to live in the middle of nowhere, and so therefore they don't build new buildings and they don't move, because that would mean more people would move in. Simple logic here. So what does the government do? It takes existingly empty buildings, or useless buildings, or dated and old buildings in smaller towns or cities, and just fills them with as many immigrants as they possibly can. Because we make money off of having these people here. We don't care that it's fucking with the economy. More money goes into our pockets if we have them here. Plus, it makes us look better for the European Union. Always great. Look good for those guys. Anyway, so now here's an idea. If you need somewhere to put these people, and you so fucking badly want them in the country, why don't you begin building another city or two? I'm not saying that we should segregate these people, because that's stupid. These people will automatically start blending in eventually anyway. They won't just stick to where they are. They spread like... Seriously, people, we as humans, have a tendency to spread. We're literally the worst disease ever conceived by the universe. we spread like wildfire. Like, it's not just one culture, it's not just one race. Everything humanity spreads like wildfire. Okay, now that I got that point just jammed across, if we were to say nearby another city, say nearby Gothenburg maybe, we were to start construction of another community. Like, maybe the size of Stenungsund, here where I live, you know, a little harbor community, just a few kilometers away from the edge of Gothenburg. Just begin constructing another harbor community, another fishing community. Maybe set up a fishery or someplace like that, a little industry building, produce some more local fish, maybe, because we have a lot of imported fish, believe it or not. Create a small fishery, maybe a cannery of some sort. Who knows? Just something. A small community being built, and then just slowly over time building out these houses as they're needed. Because here's the thing, we have so many people being taken into the country basically forcefully that can't leave because they don't have a fucking visa, and they can't get a fucking visa because they're not allowed to get a fucking visa. I'm not joking. They're basically thrown in here with no way of leaving. And there's no place to put them. So they end up with... they end up with nothing eventually because, you know, their support money eventually runs out. And when their support money runs out, shit hits the fan. What is it called? No, the literal, and then there is I can't remember what the opposite of that is. Damn. That sucks dong. But not my dong, because that'd be nice. Damn. Someone else's dong. Someone who doesn't want their dong sucked. Damn. That's not good. Yeah, well, whatever. On the note of dong sucking and not being able to remember things, I guess I'll end this off. But yeah, I'll make more solus projects here tomorrow morning. See you then.